Y'all having a good time out there.
Welcome to Wolverines All Access, your inside look into Bridgeton Academy athletics. Well, we're on spring break. Not that you would be able to tell by the weather, but that's Maine for you. But I assure you that when the boys return, we'll be playing the spring season. In this episode, we will see how the boys keep busy during the always tough third quarter, and we'll get a preview of the upcoming spring season. But first, let's take a look back and see how the second half of the winter season finished up.
The basketball team came back from break feeling good about taking the title at the Sun Youth Tournament before Christmas. The boys had a rough go of it, however, as they faced the bulk of their NEPSAC League games. We held tough, but ultimately went winless in the most challenging league in the country. Some highlights included playing tight games against two of the nation's top teams, taking eventual NEPSAC champions Brewster Academy to overtime, and coming close to knocking off the New Hampton school. We won the consolation game of the 4th annual Coaches vs. Cancer Winter Classic, taking down in-state rival Lee Academy. And finally, in front of dozens of college coaches, we beat the Canary Islands Basketball Academy at the National Prep School Invitational Showcase. The final record was 13-19, but we will remember these boys as a hard-working group who never gave up. We will remember the stretch in December when we won 6 in a row, and we will remember the always faithful BA fans who make every home game tough for our opponents. The prep hockey team kept battling after winter break. The boys played some of their best hockey of the year as they were road warriors to end the season. They didn't let the fact that they had only one home game to finish out the year get them down. They won their final game of the year to finish the season with a 12-23-3 record against the best competition that the program has ever faced. Here are some end-of-the-season highlights. They swept a pair of games with Hebron Academy, including a nail-biting win to end the season. The Wolverines snuck one past the Hebron goalie with 46 seconds remaining to take home the victory in front of the BA crowd. A long trip to Quebec resulted in a weekend split with Academy St. Louis. The boys took 3 victories against Academy, the best result ever by a BA program. And finally, the Wolverines avenged a loss to the Northwood U18 team by skating to an impressive 2-2 tie at Norwich University. The quest for 30 wins in the junior hockey team came up just short, although it began impressively just after break. The boys followed their winning ways, taking 3 wins at the Eastern Junior Hockey League Showcase. The months of January and February were their typical grind, and the boys had mixed results. We were very successful in the Northwood School Tournament, earning a bid to the semifinals before ultimately losing to former Bridgeton Academy coach Jamie Prince and the Nichols School. The team finished the season with a very respectable 26-18-3 record. Among the highlights were winning 7 games in a row after losing the first 4 games of the season, going 7-0 in the Atlantic Junior Hockey League and Eastern Junior Hockey League showcases, sweeping the season series with the National Sports Academy, and ultimately finally losing a hard-fought game to number 1 ranked Kimball Union Academy in their home rink.
We got some bittersweet news at the end of the season. We found out that Director of Hockey and Head Junior Coach Jonathan Lounsbury is going to depart at the end of the school year. He's taken a job as the head coach and general manager of the Atlantic Junior Hockey League's Walpole Express. While we're sad to see him go, he's done an excellent job with our program. We caught up with him briefly to find out what factors went into his decision and what he's going to miss most about Bridgeton Academy.
It was a really difficult decision to move on to the Walpole Express. Such a great history behind their program. Mark Humpel was a former NHL player, NHL coach, has done an outstanding job with everything they've done down there. So it was a little intimidating taking that job because they've won 3 championships in a row and they're going to want me to come in and win. So I like the challenge of that, and that was big. You know, it was a family decision, you know, being a little closer to home. I haven't seen my parents really in about 13 years. You know, I see them on the weekends here and there, but I've been gone since prep school, really. College, I lived in Maine the whole time, and then I continued my professional hockey career after that, and I've been up here. So family had definitely played a big part in the move back to the Boston area. But, you know, I think professionally for me, I'm going to have the opportunity to develop kids starting at mites all the way up through 20-year-olds, through, you know, the highest level of junior hockey there. So That was really intriguing, being able to watch a kid come up through the system and you know, working hands-on with him every day and seeing him develop and maybe go on to a Division I scholarship, a professional career, whatever it may be. So, you know, that was definitely intriguing. It wasn't an easy decision by any means, but it was, you know, I think there's a lot of moving parts in that decision that was made, and it was insanely difficult. The camaraderie, for sure. I mean, the coaches, the entire staff were so close together. We're a family. It's a big community here. It's you know, it's the extra stuff. It's seeing the kids in the dining hall, the families, the younger kids, the kids you work with. I mean, it's unbelievable just to see the progression in that short 33 weeks of how good they get as people, how good they get as students, and especially as athletes. So, you know, there's the success story at the end. I think the best part about Bridgeton Academy is graduation day. And you're seeing the smiles on the faces, and you see the tears, because as much as they were against it when they were here, oh, it's, you know, we can't do this and that, but that's, you know, they realize why they did it, and the end goal and the end result is, you know, is definitely something you'll miss.
Wolverine hockey fans, rest assured that while Coach Lounsbury's departure will certainly leave a hole, plans are currently underway with a national search to find his successor. Our BA Experience program is in its second year. Every Wednesday afternoon, the boys get to pick from an activity that includes such things as candy making and basket weaving and knitting. The program that I ran this quarter was 3-on-3 ice hockey. We made a trophy to celebrate Brian Farrell, who some of you might remember from last year as a lacrosse intern. He also helped out with 3-on-3 ice hockey last year, and we created a trophy to commemorate him and his love for the sport. This is how it turned out.
We're here to present the first ever Brian Farrell Trophy to the winner of this year's 3-on-3 BA Experience Hockey Tournament, to these guys right here.
With the upcoming spring season looming on the horizon, we took a moment to catch up with head coaches John Hunt and Aaron Izarek to get their thoughts about what the spring season is going to hold for the class of 2013.
I think we've got a really good opportunity ahead of us. We've got a great group of young men, great group of athletes, and a ton of talent. I think we just got to come out and play as soon as we hit the field in a couple weeks. I think they're all big games. I think with 17 games on the schedule in all of 6 weeks, it's going to be pretty action-packed. But we're really looking forward to the first game at Exeter. We're really looking forward to Army Prep, Army JV, and then the Cup at the end, the PG Cup down at Newport, where we open up against Hill on Saturday, and then if we win, we take on the winner of Army Navy the next day. I think it's going to come down to competing that day. I think, you know, it's going to be the end of a long season. Hopefully we'll be in a great position with some confidence going into that, but we open up with Hill on that weekend, so the Hill's pretty good. So I think we've got to just be competitive. I think definitely three midfielders definitely stand out, and Ty Dogstrup, probably one of the toughest young men I've ever worked with. Dale Mattice is going to lead us with face-offs and just be a presence on the field, and then Dylan Schulte is probably going to be, I would guess, the leading scorer in that group. And then I think we're real excited about Will Jennings at attack. Really smooth stick, great little player. And then our defense is solid. We've got 6 poles that can all play, 2 great long stick middies, and 5 goalies that could all rotate through.
I think the spring season is always fun for us. You know, in terms of it's a bit of a measuring stick for us about where we're at. You know, the fall is great, college club season. It's awesome to get off campus and go to other college campuses. And when you flip around in the spring, most guys have a spot to be. And you know, they focus more on the school rather than their placement. And now they're representing Bridgeton in a prep school schedule, but also college JVs, and really an idea of how far they've come since the fall, and you know, where this school stands compared to other schools. Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I try to preach to the guys not to magnify games, but, you know, in the dark room, I think you definitely look at things on schedule and you line up your schedule appropriately the Belmont Hills of the world, Salisbury, Andover, BB&N, schools that are traditionally give us tough games. And then that's only the prep school schedule. The JVs, Eastern JV, Keene JV, Southern New Hampshire, Franklin Pierce, St. Joe's, all of them, they're going to be tough for us. And their depth is what's going to kill us. If we can stay healthy, if we can throw strikes and execute, we're going to have a chance. But if we don't do those things, they're going to be really tough for us. We saw that last year against Eastern. We lost 9-8 in 10 innings. And their depth, they were still strong, and we ran out of gas. I thought this was a really unique group. I thought with the way they went about their business, it was very professional. It wasn't an off season where I'll go lift and see how things go. It was practice time. Coaches were there. They were engaged just as if we were outside in fall baseball. And they invested in the weight room. They invested in their speed, quickness, agility program. They invested in their indoor practices. And I hope that they get rewarded for that hard work. You don't always get to control your results, but I think the haze in the barn that they can draw off all spring, I think they got a chance. I think we had some early breakouts. I think C.J. Suarez and Brett Barbade really came into their own in the fall and really settled in and realized how good they were. On the other end, I think guys like Evan Brown and Brendan Skidmore, some of our middle of the order guys, I think Skidmore especially, I think his game's been different. I think in the fall he had a lot of recruiting questions, a lot of kind of anxiety about where he's going to end up. And I think with guys like him and Evan, Tony Graziano, same deal, guys who have found a home for next year, they can relax and play. And I'll talk about Brendan more and more, but Brendan, I think, has got the mentality that he is good, doesn't have to prove it anymore. And I think you're really going to see him shine come spring.
It's time to meet our athletes of the month for the late winter. For the basketball team, Andrew Guerrero, and for the junior hockey team, Kevin Doherty.
I'm Andrew Guerrero. I'm from Dallas, Texas. I play basketball and I'm a shooting guard.
The late winter has always been challenging. Our league is the hardest in the country. Though it hasn't reflected on the scorebook, our team has held its own. Andrew Guerrero has been the most consistent performer for the Wolverines this winter. He has averaged 18 points over the months of January and February. He knocked down 27 points against nationally ranked New Hampton right here at Memorial Gymnasium. He also helped the Wolverines to the NEPSAC Class AAA tournament where they faced Brewster Academy, ultimately falling in the first round.
My name is Kevin Doherty from Wakefield, Massachusetts. I'm on the junior hockey team and I play right wing.
Kevin comes to us from the junior hockey team. Like basketball, the hockey team did not have an easy road in the second half of the year. The team scratched and clawed its way to a 9-9-2 record to finish the season. Kevin led the team with 16 goals and added 10 assists despite missing a handful of games because of injuries. He finished the season leading the team in plus-minus rating with a plus 23 rating.
Well, thanks for watching this episode of Wolverines All Access. That's all we have for now. Be sure to check us out when we do our end-of-the-year wrap-up in May.
Y'all having a good time out there.